All right. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thanks for tuning in on a Sunday afternoon here and spending a little time with the Echelon group. I think really yeah, just sort of to sort of maybe give a preamble as to why we're doing this today and what today means. I think it's a big step for Echelon. This is essentially the eve of when governance will kick off. We've had sort of like governance prior with prime keys and selecting an EPs, but I think we are sort of at the beginning, the dawning of I guess prime being used as a governance mechanism, and so. We've had the raffle in, so people who are claiming Prime, we're going to give away a few packs at the end of the call today. But really, tomorrow when the portal opens up, we'll be able to, yeah, I guess kick off like our sort of interest in the space and see three of the proposals that community members have put forward sort of be be sort of voiced and allow ourselves to sort of vote in kind which ones we feel are sort of appropriate moving forward. Um, I guess, yeah, so today's agenda, we're going to go through a bunch of mailbag questions that the community has brought up over the past week. And then at the end, we will raffle off the wallets. Now, just to sort of not a disclaimer, but like essentially the packs themselves are not quite ready yet. I think they'll be ready this week. We will be raffling off the winners, and we'll sort of highlight the addresses. The packs will be opened later and sent to those wallets, but we just want to announce who won. Before I pass it over to Cold Sentience and View for the Q&A, I just wanted to highlight, I guess, a few of the governance items that are sort of really ramping up in a really nice way. So on forum.echelon.io, you can go now. You can sign up for an account and start to participate in the governance process. So there's at least like 7, I believe, right now of community proposals that have been put forth, and the forum is there for the community to get any feedback, test ideas and refine their proposals before they formally submit on Echelon.io. But I mean, I think a lot of us here are really passionate about the Parallel and Echelon, and I think it's a great space to sort of share ideas, and because we're all sort of working towards making everything better. The other thing I want to highlight is we're light on grant applications. So the grant application, again, you can apply for grants on Echelon.io, as well as put forth a draft grant application on the forum. And essentially, what that is if you have a project that you're working on, or you're thinking of something that you want to build and sort of need help, depending on what you're looking for, we can sort of provide some assistance and Prime there, and essentially just letting everyone know that Prime is available for good ideas and for people who are actively building the space. So please take a look and put forth your projects so that we can build this up together. And then lastly, there was a tweet that was sent out on by the Echelon Twitter. I can post it again in the general. There's a sort of procedure there. If you're sort of catching up, there's a sort of step-by-step on how to vote. Voting will begin tomorrow. It will be open for a week, and then Echelon and us as EPs will be sort of implementing any of the proposals that go forward. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Cold Sentience and View for the Q&A.
Right on. So I think first question here. I think Bu is going to take this one. So yeah, we're just going to
Yep.
go run through all the questions. I think um, we're trying to get this whole thing, including the giveaway, over by the end of the hour. So just heads up in terms of the timing ish. But yeah, so Bu, why don't you kick us off here?
Sure. All right. Question one: are there plans to have a mega cache for collectors who have every set of FE, or I assume SE as well? Um, the short answer is no, but this is an interesting idea. But there are no current plans for a mega cache.
Yeah, I really like this idea. I think that, as a kid, just sort of collecting a full set um, just is just sort of a goal that like we all sort of have. I know I had like the full binder of Marvel cards, and it's something that we could consider. I think like completing the set is sort of an achievement in its own right. But that said, if this is something that you know you feel that we really need to emphasize as a community, I think please throw it on the governance forum, and we can try to refine how this could be done. But I think right now, as B mentioned, we don't have a plan. I think the sets themselves are rewarded pretty well. But that said, owning a base set is a pretty monumentous achievement.
Well said, well said. Now, off to question number two, which is: will there ever be an official way to partially cast cards to make a full set with someone else? And the answer is that this is something we can examine in the future, but currently don't have plans for it. There are two key points that I would like to talk about since we have the chance. One highlights the power that the community holds, which is our ability to put governance votes in place. This allows everyone to have a voice, but also mandates that you are an active community member, as to be able to persuade everyone to vote on your ideas. Secondly, the community has taken action before creating tools such as this one. This is the beauty of open and permissionless systems. So a community member can either see potential needs in the system and build them out themselves, or, as we shall talk about more in the future, Echelon will be providing bounty incentives for them.
Yeah. I guess there are community tools, unofficial community tools, which do provide this function. But again, if this is something that we think we need, we can definitely build it out. I think right now since there are community tools that are in place that do this function, we sort of want to prioritize sort of, I guess, different tasks. But again, if you feel this is a needed item, I think we throw it up on the forum and see where it goes.
Swag. So number three was when more sync info. How can we expect this to drive the economy? Can we share anything yet? So I wanted to start off by just reiterating the original sync allocations, because this is basically the only communication that there's been on sync so far. So this is from page 23 of the Prime proposal. It was proposed that 65% of the tokens going into syncs would be redistributed to the P2E pool. 15% would go to Prime set holders, 3% for Prime drives, 10% would return to single-sided Prime staking, 5% would be returned to Parallel, and then 2% would go to Echelon. So right off the bat, the clear change there is that 10% of Prime tokens for single-sided staking. Since we have decided to remove that, that right there is 10% already that's sort of open to change. With that said, there has been a lot of modeling going on over the last 6 months, and that might not be the only part that's changing. But to be honest, there's just a few more weeks or a couple months potentially left to like get this right. And so at the moment, I can't share like any concrete numbers, but a few things to look forward to. We'd previously talked, for example, about the core and the keyframing modifiers, how the core would capture a portion of that. So that's one thing that we will be communicating. And semi-related to this right now is one of the three proposals that's going to a vote tomorrow on the masterpieces. So that proposal aims to split a percentage of the royalties among all masterpieces, rather than having each be directly correlated to their individual cards. So I just thought I would touch on that since it's somewhat related to syncs, and that's something that you can currently voice your vote on starting Monday. So more to come with that, and we will be sharing concrete info on the syncs before Parallel is released.
Yeah, I think one of the things with this is it's such a delicate and complex system, um, that we don't want to sort of necessarily release this information right away. I think this is something that is going to be integral to how the game and the rewards function. And since we're still a bit away, like we should be studying everything. And we've seen a little bit of the um, we've seen some of the sort of videos of the I guess the data modeling system, and it's quite intricate. And those things we're sort of slowly refining. Obviously, every single thing matters. You know, anytime there's like a suggestion for like a key that like boosts like prime by a small percentage, that sort of impacts the entire sort of machine. So everything has to be studied multiple different ways. So we'll lock that down a little closer to game launch, and provide info when we can.
All right. Question 4 here. How do you plan to balance the cards without manipulating card prices? I guess the long and short of it is this is a parallel question, not an echelon question, but this is a problem that sort of is, persistent in every single TCG out there. So it's not something that people aren't thinking about. It's something that is being thought about, but it's just something that we can't answer as that sort of parallels remit.
Meta?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, just to jump in because we did forget to mention our disclaimer. But obviously, anything that's parallel related, we'll have to sort of wait for official news from the team on those. But we'll try our best to answer as we go along. But to this point, I think from previous parallel community calls, they've mentioned that they'll create new cards, and they mentioned doing something like monthly cards, which I think is a good avenue for introducing new, I guess, wrinkles into the meta to keep the game fresh. And we know firsthand from the sort of game testing side that this has already happened. There was there was sort of a base set that we were playing with, and they've already introduced a couple of cards that sort of was meant to shake up, and they're now printed, and a couple of them are already a part of PD5. So hopefully they keep experimenting with that. And I think I think at least from the game testing side, it did shake things up quite a deal. So we'll see how it goes in actual practice.
Yeah, and as always, you have to remember that in TCGs, as the set goes, power creep is a thing. Many meta comes and goes. Not our meta, but the game metas. So never be just if you're dissatisfied with the price of something, well, it is what it is. Get a new card. who knows? But on to two more questions, 5 and 6, which are vault related. What will future benefits of the vault be? Is there still a plan to allow card swaps slash trades through the vault? Now, although the vault is in a self state at the moment due to all the work being focused on the proper game release and all of the other aspects surrounding it, it's not forgotten about. One of the known benefits is that it will have the gasless trading, swapping, however you want to call it, that it enables. But more importantly, is the way it will enable a quicker on ramp for non crypto native users. This will have a plethora of benefits, but as for now, more news will eventually come.
Yeah, so I guess to that point, like I think Echelon in parallel like imagines that this game is going to be played quite widely to like a huge base of gamers. So any solutions that sort of ease the sort of difficulty um, in sort of setting up wallets, better on ramping, I think all of that is sort of vital to reaching like broader adoption that I think that the team in Echelon sees will be happening. So the vault is going to be pretty important for some of these for some of these items.
Cool. So the next couple questions were just about the player packs. Really not too much to say on this. Again, another parallel question. But the general idea with the player packs is lesser rarity and lower cost. So just basically a easier, more entry level pack for the masses. You'll be getting updates about that from parallel when relevant. I think this next one is for you.
It's View.
Yeah. All right. So, will Echelon provide liquidity for Prime on a DEX? We're looking into the possibility of this, but we can't confirm it at this time.
Boo.
Sorry.
Well, called on to you then.
So what are we doing? Are we doing anything at all, you guys?
Well, who knows? Probably not.
That was the question.
Oh, right. Yeah.
What are we doing? So working on a few things kind of in tandem right now. The one that you all are very aware of at this point is governance stuff. So we're really trying to ramp that up right now. On Monday, we're going to have the first 3 proposals, but after that, we're hoping to be on a cadence where within a week of somebody submitting a proposal through the forum, it will be uploaded. It took us a little bit longer to get this first group started. We had to get the voting strategy set up on Snapshot, which just as a quick refresher, your vote is the combined weight of your prime key votes and prime. And prime keys each have a voting balance that started at 4,000 at the beginning of caching and is decreasing linearly to 0 at the end of 1 year. So it takes that number times the amount of prime keys you have, sums it with your prime, and then takes the square root of that. So just a refresher on that. It's actually pretty interesting how much it squashes the voting. It's going to be cool to see, like compared to the EP election where it was just with prime keys. The square rooting really changes the power of smaller individual wallets. So anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, but working on ramping that up. So expect to see your proposals put to a vote within a week of submitting in the future. So looking forward to what you guys come up with. Other than that, a few of us are working on a Git book right now to kind of be like a one-stop shop for all of the Echelon info. Because up until this point, we see it all the time on newcomers in the Parallel Discord or in Echelon. There's so many questions that you start to have when you join the ecosystem, and it's just confusing, and nobody wants to go read 4 separate papers that are dozens of pages long. So we've been working on just getting all of the most important info distilled into a Git book that's kind of going to be like a living document. with all the most important key info. And our goal is to hopefully release that this week. So you guys will get to check that out. Other than that, we are working on like a bounty program as well, which Sentience touched on a bit through D-Work. So that's going to be a way for community members looking to participate to just come grab a bounty. Some of them are going to be more have a bigger scope, I guess, than others, like building a swap contract, let's say. But in the future, it could be simple, smaller things as well. And what else? Bonds are huge. That's a big priority for us right now, is fleshing out the bond system. We've been sharing a little bit of info teasers on that, but that's going to be huge, and we're hoping to get that out of the door soon. It's hard to predict, but you'll be seeing a lot more info about the bonds in the coming weeks and months. And yeah, other than that, starting discussions with partners in terms of for the token when it comes out, but also just for expanding the ecosystem. And so yeah, building those connections and just laying the groundwork for the future of the ecosystem and teaming up with the right people to do that.
So yeah, to answer your question, Cold, we are doing stuff, and a lot of stuff on multiple fronts. Things that we can talk about, can't talk about, and just revealed. So we are hard at work. Please note that, everyone. We're not sitting on our asses. And if Meta doesn't wanna add any color to it, I can jump on to a spicy question over here that says,
No, you can go ahead. Yeah.
thanks so much, Meta. Appreciate you. Do you have any details to share on if you are considering bringing any other projects into the Echelon ecosystem in the near future? Now, there is a non-parallel project that utilizes not only Prime and EADAs, but also NFTs from other franchises. Unfortunately, we can't share any further info about it at this time, but I'm sure that got a lot of people going, so I'm excited to see what you come up with. Now, I want to again reiterate that the community can and should vote on games they would like to onboard into the Prime ecosystem. Make sure to also head on over to forum.echelon.io to propose on specific partners you wish for us to reach out to.
Cool. Yeah, if there's nothing else to add, I can get over to the next question, which is anything to update on roadmap or timeline? And yeah, the short answer is no roadmap or timeline on our end. We are continuing to really focus on kind of like launching governance and expanding that, getting proposals out in the wild as well.
And then a little bit related to that previous question, what other genres of games is the team currently exploring? There is a plethora of genres the team is exploring, from RPGs, FPSs to RTSs and auto battlers, to name a few key ones, but that doesn't just limit us to those. So there is definitely a demand out there for more good crypto games, and we definitely want to be at the forefront of that. So again, if you have any suggestions, make sure to inform us at forum.echelon.io.
Nice.
Maybe
So-
just add,
oh.
just to clarify, we are working
Yeah.
on something, and we can't say anything. That's basically what we can
Wow,
say.
that was a lot of clarity. Thank you. So this next question, how much ad power is Echelon putting behind the parallel launch when the game goes live? So it's an interesting question because I think there's like a couple different angles. In terms of marketing, parallel really is Parallel has a lot of marketable material, right? With the game and the lore. I mean, we all saw that teaser with the drones going and discovering the prime deposits, right? So there's a lot of really cool and interesting angles. And as far as I know, there's going to be a big marketing effort leading into the game launch and beyond. So there's just a lot, right, that can be exciting and is marketable. With Echelon, we're not gonna necessarily be running a parallel ad that's produced by us or anything like that. I think, like, in keeping kind of the separation of church and state, of game and game economy, um, our job really is just to make sure that the economics are solid and sustainable. Um, Keeping good relationships with partners like exchanges and market makers and things like that, so that the game economy is ready to scale when that marketing push comes. So I think we're just laser focused on getting the infrastructure in place, so that when the inevitable marketing tidal wave comes from parallel, that we're ready for it. I don't know if anybody else has something to add on
So
that.
Mick just coming up to the stage. Maybe he wants to add a few stuff.
Yeah, sorry guys, hold on. I can't get my audio correct, but I'm sure some people can hear me. As far as the kind of ad spend and marketing front for Parallel and Echelon, obviously a lot of this sits on the game itself and how they want to promote it. But just from a pretty frank standpoint, I'm my background is in marketing and kind of game promotion, and so I'm having a lot of calls with Fitch, who obviously runs kind of growth on the Parallel side, and um, Sarah Bess on the Echelon side, who's kind of helping on the rollout of things. I think, for those of us who aren't in the marketing kind of deep marketing world, I think it is easy to think of just like what's an ad spend number, and typically that's just a percentage of the operating costs that a company has as they go to market. That right now, from what I've seen, hasn't necessarily been set in stone by Parallel, so I don't really think we could just throw out a number and say like, oh, it's going to be 5% of the operating budget, or it's going to be $800,000. That's probably not the right way for the community to be thinking about marketing and kind of spend on things. I think it's probably more useful for us to consider, kind of some of the steps ahead. Right now, Parallel continues to be very grassroots, continues to be very Web3 focused, going wider market right now. Without a game, without some of the things that need to be updated on the site experience, isn't really useful. And I've kind of advised would be probably a misspending of funds. But those things are going to be really important. I think that right now, most of the conversations I'm having with Fitch and with Cerebus and Sasha or Kalis are really like around like what's the kind of next three stages of like who's going to get access to the game next, how big is the next net going to be, and then further nets down the line. I'm essentially thinking about how many new people we have to onboard. And realistically, you guys can kind of see from some of the things we're doing on the Echelon side, we're tipping the funnel upside down and trying to say, hey, we have a lot of people who have Parallel cards in their wallet. That's really exciting. And for all of you who are here, you're probably, we have like almost 100 people in here. You guys are the core of the core, but we have a lot of casual people, a lot of people who've claimed one or two cards through faucets, and really it's about retention at this point. If we have 40,000 plus people who have exposure to Parallel through just like having a card in their wallet, that is somebody who's essentially like in the system or in the funnel for us. So there's kind of two ways of thinking about it. Is like, how do we make sure we keep them engaged? That means like bringing them back for the next faucet, if that's what it is, or pack drop. Make sure that they're still participating, maybe still, trying to collect some cards, still anticipating the game. And then from the Echelon side, making sure that, we're trying to, we want people to participate in governance. We want that funnel to be as wide as possible as well. So we've done some things to try and encourage people to, obviously participate in governance and have the prime tokens that they can. So I think, for everybody who's just kind of wants like a hard number on how much we're going to spend for ads, I'd probably rather think about it or encourage you to think about when do we need to expand the funnel next? Because right now we have a pretty big net, and then a lot of it's retention. And I think that Fitch will probably focus on expanding the funnel, expanding the acquisition when it becomes closer to like kind of more of a public game experience. So, yeah, that's all I've got there.
Thank you so much, Mick, for that. That was a great insight on the marketing part, for sure.
Okay, so I think this next question was about how many marshmallows. It says how many marshmallows can we collectively fit in our mouth. So I guess that's like the 5 of us on stage, or well, Mick dropped off. So I guess the 4 of us on stage together. I'm thinking like, I really think I could fit like 15.
It says jumbo size though.
Put me down for 2.
Well, we don't have. Well, I think in Europe general, but at least here in Greece, we definitely don't have any sort of weird games like that. But I researched
You have
these.
marshmallows though, right?
Well, we do, yeah, but they're not like the ones in America for sure. But yeah, because I researched this, I would say 4. I could do 4.
Yeah, maybe 15 is overshooting it. I know that I could fit more marshmallows in my
You're
mouth
a big boy,
than you
Cole.
guys.
Like for
15 of the big ones is crazy.
Yeah, if you could do 15, you got to stream it. There's absolutely no way you could do 15. Absolutely no way.
All right,
I'll stake some prime on that.
all right, bet. We'll do that offline. So okay, so this next question was about what qualifies as a sync for the prime drive. So the simple answer to that is that any sync within parallel specifically qualifies for the prime drive. So that wouldn't include the 2 prime fee that you pay for a governance proposal, since that's Echelon specific. But yeah, anything like for spawning cards, and any fees that are found within the game would go back to prime drive holders.
All right. And sort of continuing on that, is there any utility plan for Catalyst Drive besides caching the initial cornerstone pool and combining with a PK to make a prime drive? Slash, has there been any discussion about improvements to the prime Catalyst Drive rewards similar to those made to cores and MPs? The short answer is no, we have not discussed this currently. We sort of, in general, feel that the Prime Drive rewards are adequate. However, that being said, if the community feels differently, they can always, individuals can always, form a proposal and submit it through the forums.
Maybe just to jump in, maybe this is sort of out of the Catalyst Drive and the Prime Drive rewards are pretty strong. I mean, I think that like when Cole brought up the syncs from earlier on the call, what was it like? They Prime drives get 3%, and like
Yeah,
the
it's
entirety of
3.
Echelon gets 2%. So if
Yeah.
you think about that, like the community pool is getting like, which is like 4 or 5,000, presumably going to be a much wider base of players eventually, gets 2%, and prime drives, which is 150 people, get 3%. So I think just sort of to highlight, the rewards there for the prime drive are pretty good. Obviously, we sort of need to see all this stuff in practice, but from a sort of relativity standpoint, I think we have to put that into context here. Yeah, that's sort of my piece.
And I want to take over the next one as well.
Yeah, on the keyframing. So yeah, I touched on this briefly.
No, 18 or sorry, am I?
Oh.
19. It's you.
Oh, sorry. I'm confused. I'm sorry. Yeah, when will keyframing be detailed and the rewards shared for the core? As syncs are tied to the central game mechanics, the sync confirmation will come closer to game launch. As for the keyframing details, they will come from the parallel side most likely. And yeah, that is where we are right now for that.
This next question, I almost wonder if Mick's still in here. You should hop back up, dude.
Unfortunately, he left.
Took off. Dang, just like that. But this next question is about what is the strategy for onboarding new members from Web3 into the community. Same question for onboarding people from Web2. So I think right now our circle is fairly Web3 crypto centric. I think there's a lot more people who found Parallel and Echelon through the crypto side more so than the like traditional Web2 gaming side. The pivot recently from Parallel to switch away from Parallel NFT handle on Twitter to Parallel TCG, I think is one step in that direction where Parallel, the goal is really to just be, for all intents and purposes, a traditional game that gamers from everywhere can play and interact with without needing to deal with any of the complexity associated with crypto. So I think the goal really is just to draw in as many people from the Web2 world as possible, and then sort of just trickle in the crypto stuff, because the reality is there's a lot more gamers right now who play non-crypto games than who play crypto games. So yeah, I guess my answer to this question is just it's about figuring out ways to abstract away that complexity. And then I think on our end specifically, it's about like just getting the right people on our team to help build bridges between um, like the Web3 and Web2 community. And then I think that Bu and Meta, you guys went to PAX recently. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that at all, as like maybe how it relates to this question.
Yeah, I was gonna touch on that as part of the last question, so you can use that
Maybe
as
I'll
a
jump in
teaser.
then.
Oh yeah, add
Maybe
some
I'll jump
color.
in at that. So a couple of I think actual like strategies that might be employed. Again, unofficial. I think through discussions I've heard that one way that the team was thinking about implementing a strategy for onboarding is if so you can play the game if you don't have the NFTs, you can play with apparitions and you're good to go. Then there's sort of this like gradated scale of I guess like how much you want to step into the crypto sphere, and so one of those things that we discussed earlier was the vault. So that will obviously sort of remove the friction of creating your own wallet. It'll sort of be handled on the back end. Then I believe there is like an idea where for people that want to jump in, they've played, they've earned, they've sort of seen how much they could have earned if they had NFTs. There's probably going to be an onboarding sort of process whereby if you set up a wallet, Parallel may give you 5 free apparitions. Uh, Apparitions packs as a carrot for you sort of taking a further step into it. So things like this where giving people the option of I guess like choosing between how much they want to go in, and then providing a little bit of a carrot for those that really want to dive fully into it. I think is some of the ways that the team was thinking about it. Again, huge disclaimer. This is just from what we've heard.
Oh, I think I'm the next question. Unless there's anything else to add on that.
No.
All right. Are there any plans for providing more frequent updates to the game's launch and or progress? And yeah, once again, this is a question that should be directed towards Parallel. Ultimately, they're the ones that are gonna decide what to share and when, and it's not something that we sort of have any control over.
Awesome. Next question: what plans are there, non-official ones and official, for Prime key holders once current emissions run out? There are no plans as of right now for the Prime keys apart from what is known. But yet again, if you have any suggestions you want to make for them, or you want to put a governance vote for them, feel free to do that. And as Meta said before, the rewards are a lot, and don't forget that the Prime keys can be used in game, so you're able to use more keys to generate, in theory, more prime by winning, etc., etc. So there's still a lot of usages for them apart from just the emissions.
Yeah. I think you said the sentience, but that's another one of those cases where you can submit a proposal and just start throwing some ideas out there. Just throw it up on the forum and chat about it. So this next question is about tournaments. Have we planned any? What would the entry fee be, prize pool, how often, etc.? So tournaments, I think most of us agree, are going to be a massive part of, I mean, they're a huge part of any game's success. And it's a huge part of players' success as well, right? Because that's a lot of the times where players make the big money, and it brings in a lot of eyes and attention. So yeah, tournaments are definitely a huge focus. Paragon's DAO actually just this week released one of their PDIPs. I just thought I'd bring it up because it's related. Where they talked about how they're going to be working with Black Hand, and yeah, if you head over to the Paragon's Paragon's Discord, it's PDIP number 9. So yeah, Ted had some thoughts on tournaments there, but yeah, I guess I can't share anything specific, unfortunately, about tournaments right now. But just know that Parallel is thinking a lot about them and how to really crush it. And we're going to do everything we can to provide the infrastructure there to allow it to work. And already we're seeing community-led efforts, like I just mentioned, from Paragon's DAO, and I'm sure there'll be other community-organized tournaments as well. So really looking forward to tournaments and how they relate to Parallel and Echelon games.
Yeah, I think maybe to add, yeah, tournaments are absolutely a huge part of how sort of these games become sort of widespread. I believe the one of the reasons why Dota became so popular was because the purses for those tournaments are, huge. I think right now we sort of are we haven't really launched the game yet, but a couple things that we could consider is depending on how all the sync stuff happens, perhaps there's an opportunity for earmarking some of the syncs as sort of for tournament prizes, and sort of I guess boosting those tournament purses for the really for the pro scene.
Yep. Cool. So then 2 more questions here, and then we're going to go to the raffle. So this question here, where are we in terms of marketing Echelon? It's still under the radar. Where are we? Honestly, I think we're going to publish a recording of this. I think if you back up to the point where Mick hopped in earlier talking about marketing, I think he provided a really good answer for that. So yeah, I kind of think we already covered this. I don't know. Does anybody else have something in particular they wanted to say for this one?
No, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean,
Yeah.
Mick sort of outlined the strategy of sort of letting Parallel take the forefront, and we'll be there supporting and trying to widen the basin as we move forward.
Awesome. And last question to you, number 24.
Be-rugged.
Want to take this?
Oh no, sorry, I was just on mute. My bad. How do you plan on tackling the skepticism surrounding crypto and NFTs in the gaming community? Yeah, so forgive me, I might ramble a bit here, but as we sort of mentioned previously, Meta, Fall, and myself were all at PAX West. For folks who are not familiar with PAX, it is a sort of like gaming conference. I think it's historically focused more on independent developers rather than large studios. But there's still a fairly decent studio presence, and the PAX West takes place in Seattle, or PAX East is in Boston. And as I'm sure a lot of folks here know, there's been a lot of kind of like outcry against both large studios like Ubisoft as well as smaller independent developers like Good Luck Games, which is the maker of Storybook Brawl. And if you don't recall, they were acquired by FTX earlier this year. And for them, they had a game that had reviews on Steam that were above 9, and then they got review bombed just because they were acquired by FTX. So this is like obviously a real problem. And I think one of the biggest takeaways, at least for me personally, kind of like going to a gaming conference for the first time, was kind of understanding that I may be a crypto native, but I am not necessarily a gaming subculture native, if that makes sense. And I'm someone that's played video games my entire life. I've owned every single PlayStation. I played Counter-Strike when it was a Half-Life mod. I've played a lot of games, but it's not a subculture that I've really been a part of in a meaningful way, probably since I was 16 and playing in CS clans. And I think that is actually like really instructive for us as Echelon as we think about marketing, communication, and onboarding people, is understanding that we are kind of approaching these people as outsiders. Now, there might be some of us in Echelon and in the Echelon community and the parallel communities that are more native to the gaming subculture. But I think keeping that humility with sort of what we are and what our expertise is, and not sort of rocking up trying to tell people not to worry about things, or approaching it with a sort of like bad mentality, or like try to explain their own feelings away from them, is kind of a good place to start. The other sort of big takeaway from PAX was there was actually one other Web3 enabled game there, and we must have walked past their booth, I don't know, Meta, like a dozen times, without realizing that they were a crypto enabled game. And we chatted to them a bit, and essentially, right, like no one was really asking them about the crypto aspect of their game. I think only 5 people did. Now, some of this was because it wasn't advertised, but that's also kind of the point. A studio or a developer that is focusing on making a really good game, if they deliver, then no one's going to give it, no one's going to care what the sort of economic back end that you choose is if the game is fun. I think a lot of the hostility and worry amongst the gamers is that they're going to be further commoditized and everything's going to be further financialized due to crypto. Whereas what I see it as is games already have a monetization back end anyway. And whether or not they pick one that is kind of like an open ecosystem versus a closed ecosystem is really an implementation detail. And ultimately, if the game is fun, no one's going to really care because they're going to play the game. And I think that was borne out a little bit just by kind of like observing the massive line that this game had at PAX, where they must have had 1,500, 2,000 people play the demo, and only 5 asked them about the crypto aspect. And that tells me that it's like people don't care because the game was fun and it looked good. And if the game is fun and it looks good, people are going to play the games. So that was kind of a bit of a ramble. Maybe Meta wants to hack something
Yeah,
on, but I think, go ahead.
yeah. The only thing I'd add there is that, like, there is a sort of skepticism, but that said, one of the sentiments that we sort of picked up from this event was, we're like, it's going to be a matter of time. Like, I think the next time PAX comes around, like, there's going to be games that have launched in the Web3 space. They'll prove themselves, and I think slowly, like, the sentiment will shift. And right now, we're as Bu mentioned, we're Web3 gaming is sort of outside looking in, but I I think the teams that we were talking to were pretty confident that this is sort of the real deal, and over time we'll sort of horn our way in, and I think there's a lot of optimism from that point.
Yeah. And I think it's just a reminder to us to like always be mindful of the fact that like not only are we representatives of, Echelon and the games that and the games that are in our ecosystem, but as early people in the Web3 space in general, like we should view ourselves as ambassadors and representatives of this space and try to always embody, the principles of like inclusivity and humility, and really view this as an opportunity to educate people and not something where we're just going to tell people what's right for them. The game was called Metalcore. Saw that in the chat.
Okay, so do you want to give us any last words, Meta, before we move on to our raffle?
Nope. I think we just head on over to the raffle portion.
Awesome, and we are perfectly in time, 10 minutes spare. So let me just pull up the random number generator, and I'll where should I post the wallets, or should I just post them all together later on tweet an announcement? What do you think of that one?
I think can you share the screen? Is that possible?
You're killing me. I mean, Cold I can give the number, and Cold can then post it on the chat, maybe, since he has the same paper as I do. Can you do that, Cold? Since I'm recording it anyway.
Sure. You mean just what, like when you announce it, just write it in the chat, or
Yeah, just post the wallets in chat. Because every wallet has a number with it.
Right. Yeah, I guess just so everybody's aware, what we did is it's a little bit of a it's not the most advanced randomizer solution of all time. We just exported the spreadsheet from the Prime tracker page on Etherscan, and so each wallet has a number next to it. So I think there was a total of
2,338.
Yep. So Sendy is going to randomize a number between 1 and whatever thing. So yeah, after you do the number, I'll just scroll through and get the...
Yeah, I'm just doing some random generations just so everyone in the video can see it's not rigged. It's definitely not cold on every pack. Alright, so first number is 1433, 1433.
Okay. Scrolling.
I mean, please. If we had some sort of names or something, maybe it would have been more exciting. But hey,
you said 1443, 1443.
No, 1433.
1433. Sorry, yep. To 1443. Okay, 1433. I'm about to post this in general.
Cool. There we go. Teamwork. That's why we're EPs, because we have impeccable teamwork. All right. Are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Let's go.
I'm just going to keep editing this message.
Yes. 503. 503.
503.
Yes. Jeez.
Here we go. Oh my God. Control C. Yeah, there's no ENSs in this spreadsheet, by the way, too. So if you do have an ENS, it wouldn't be reflected. Just FYI. Okay, updated.
Faster, Cold, faster.
Hey, I'm there, dude. I'm done.
All right.
I'm waiting.
1831, 1831.
Okay.
We're almost halfway there. Super exciting stuff, everyone. I mean, eventually somebody will see their wallet and they're gonna be very happy.
Yeah, I would like read out these wallet addresses, but I think it's easier for people to just look. I'll tweet out this list too.
Of course.
Wait, so just double check. You said 1831?
Yes, 1831.
Okay, updated.
Next one, we go all the way down to 247. 247. I'm glad Meta is having fun. Have some extra color, except for two people just searching through numbers. So you have put some like sort of fireworks each time you press the number or something.
Okay.
You got it?
All right, so 4 left.
Let's go. Oh, it only went to 220. It dropped down by a little bit.
That's rigged, bro.
Rigged.
220. Control C.
And then Control
I'm
V.
gonna go ahead and hit a Control V here.
Wow. Damn. Technology. All right. All the way up to 1190. So 1190.
1190.
Yes, sir. And now we're getting slowly into the last two contestants. Who will win a potential prime drop in the packs? Exciting stuff. Are you ready for the next one?
Yep.
All right. Again, wow, 296. 296.
Wow, these 200s are...
Yeah, I guess some people that are in the starting points, I mean, there's a difference there. Anyways, can we get one in the 2000s? Come on, let's get one in the 2000s.
Hold, please. Okay, you said 296.
Yes, sir.
Okay, edit. Paste. All right, so this is our last one, right?
Yes, come on. Something exciting. Something in the 2000s. We can't leave the 2000s out of it. Let's go. All right, it only went to 661.
Okay. 661.
Yes.
Cool. So I'll post this in, and so we have to wait until the MP and PK packs are out because the 8 packs we're getting are going to be like the same format basically. But what we will do is maybe just hop on like a Discord chat here whenever they're ready. We can let you guys know in advance a little bit. And then we will open up all the packs and then send the contents to all the winners. So that should be this week. Not sure what day yet, but we will holler at you guys. So there you have it. Congrats to the winners.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us on the Sunday. Hope you guys have a great week, and yeah, we're looking forward to the next steps in governance and key announcement, pair sets, etc. So, talk soon.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you all so much for joining. Exactly the 1 hour mark. We'll see you all next time.